Well, hello. Welcome back to the Quality Matters Daily Dive. I am Kyle Chambers with Texas Quality Assurance. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most common and, in my personal opinion, best selections for one of your quality objectives. And we're going to be talking about on-time delivery. On-time delivery is really a fantastic objective for most organizations. It's not a universal. There really is no such thing as universal when it comes to quality objectives, these top level litmus tests for how well the management system is working. But this is one of the closest you can get to a universal. And you might be saying, well, Colin, a service organization and our dates change all the time and we can't really control it. I got you covered. You might be saying, well, Kyle, we just provide the same product time after time after time again. I've got you covered. It's a very simple system. We use this internally as well. It is just a really fantastic method. But before I jump in too far, let's maybe take a look at what our good old friend, the ISO 9001 standard, has to say. Now, y'all will find I reference the ISO 9001 standard a lot. And it's not because I think it's the greatest standard on earth or because it applies to everyone. But let's be honest, most of the management system standards that are out there are really based off of the requirements of ISO 9001. What 9001 does, pretty much everyone else eventually adopts in one manner or another. So that's when we're going to talk about it. So let's take a look here. There we go. So this is coming from 9001 standard for quality objectives and planning to achieve them. Now, we'll talk about this another day, but it's really interesting the way they put this right after actions to address risk and opportunities, because maybe that has something to do with influencing what we select for our objectives. But again, conversation for another day. I almost forgot. Today is May the 4th. So, in honor of May the 4th, R2D2 says bleep, bleep, bloop, which I think is robot for May the Force be with you. All right. So let me get my noisemaker here on silent. Sorry, I forgot to turn this on silent before we got started. All right. So the organization shall establish quality objectives at relevant functions, levels. Basically, they're saying make an objective that makes sense for you, that makes sense for your business. Otherwise, what's the point? All right. Now, I say that, but oh gosh, I have to tell you, I have seen a number of times where companies, either on their own or through the direction of other consulting groups out there, have come up with these oddball objectives that have nothing to do with their business because it's just part of that stock model that got deployed to them. Well, we do have our own cookie cutter system that we then customize and deploy when we do these compliance consultations. We do a lot of customization. Not everyone else does, and there's good and bad to that. But in any case, let's talk more about the objectives. So they have to fit you. The objectives shall be consistent with the policy. Again, make sure this makes sense to your business. The second one here, be measurable. This is actually really tough. This is really, really stinking tough sometimes. But we're going to take a look at a real good measure. Take into account applicable requirements. Okay. So you'll find how we actually utilize a bullet C there. Howdy, Danny Granada says, hello, everyone. So hello, Danny. Hey, it has to be relevant to the conformity of products and services. Okay. So we kind of get the ideas here. It has to meet your business and what you do, and the key, measurable. So let's talk about measurable. Now, forgive me, everyone, you're going to have to deal with my absolutely horrible, atrocious handwriting and spelling. Sorry, it's not where I excel. Hardly anything I send out without having someone else prove it, because that just, in any case, you'll see, but we'll get there. So let's talk here about on-time delivery, often OTD. Okay, so we've got our on-time delivery codes. Well, and this can change, and please make changes and modifications that make sense to your business. But the first on-time delivery code is going to be a 1. Let me change the pin width here in just a minute. So we'll have 2, 3, 4, maybe a 5. We've had one client where we actually added a 6 to it, but I try to recommend we keep it a little bit simpler there. Okay. So 1 effectively means, let's pick a different color and thickness here, that we met. Oh, that's weird. That's changing colors. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. That is just going to drive me completely bonkers. We'll go back to the black ink. All right. So what we have here, a 1 means that we met, date, promised, no customer satisfaction issues. Okay, that makes sense. We told them we'd ship it on this date, or we told them we'd be finished on this date. Again, whether we're dealing with products or services, we said we'd have the audit report to you by this date. We said we'd go through the approval of your documents by this date, or we said the product would get shipped by this date. Whatever it is, we met the date that we said, and hey, the customer is happy with what we did. Okay, number 2 is going to be date not hit, but no impact on customer satisfaction. Okay, now an example of a code 2 would be we had a certain date, but hey, we all know there's supply chain issues going on right now, and it looks like they're probably going to last for a while. Of course, everyone's got 10,000 theories as to why. We're not going into that here. But we didn't hit the date, and our customer said, you know what, we really didn't even need it this month. It's just the date you put on your proposal, and hey, we're totally fine that it's a week late. Thanks for letting us know. Fantastic. The customer is still happy. We're good. We hit our date. Now, the thing is, you don't want to have too many of these, because if you got too many of these, then let's face it, you're not paying attention to your business well enough to promise the proper dates, but at least you're keeping your customer happy, right? So we want to minimize the number of 2s that we have. Number 3 would be date not hit. And this is oftentimes we'll call an act of God and minor customer satisfaction issues. Okay, again, maybe you can't do much about it. Okay, so maybe, for instance, what we're dealing with here is there's some wind or some weather delays or something going on that's, let me see if I can make this bigger. Something going on that's causing a delay in our operation. We couldn't do anything about it in the moment. And there's a minor impact to the customer satisfaction, but they're not going to bail. Okay, they're not gonna miss. So I need to put my E there. So here we have for number 4, date not hit in. I told you handwriting's terrible, and it's even harder on the Surface tablet. Date not hit in internal nonconformity minor CS impact. Might help if I wrote impact up there as well too. All right, so we've got a minor impact to customer satisfaction. So now this is, it's not act of God. We can't blame it on the weather. We can't blame it on some freak failure. This is totally, guys, we blew it. We didn't plan right. We didn't schedule right. One of our guys bailed, whatever the case may be, which employees bailing is a big issue right now as well. We're trying to put together an event for talk about contingency planning. And when we did a poll here on LinkedIn, it turned out that most of the folks that were concerned about contingency plans had to do with the workforce. I mean, far above hurricanes and the freeze and tornadoes, it had to do with the workforce. So it's a big issue as well, but it's definitely more under our control than in a hurricane coming through, right? But number 4 is getting a little more negative. All right. And number 5 is date. Might help if I wrote my D so it didn't look like a P. Date not hit major customer satisfaction impact. This is where you might not see this customer again, or if you do, it's only until they can find someone to replace you. Okay, so this is all getting pretty measurable. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about how we do it. What we do is we have what we call a monthly job close meeting. We actually had it this morning. And in our monthly job close meeting, we look at all the projects that closed in the previous month. So, and then we score each of these projects on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type scale. Did we hit the date? Did we miss the date? Well, what's the deal going on here? And then what we're going to do is we're going to score all of these over the course of the year. Now, this is easy to do for us. We do audits, consultations, software deployments, pretty straightforward. So our audits, it's pretty straightforward. Like we either got the audit done on the date that we said we would, and we got the audit report turned in the time frame we said we would. Great, we give it a 1. It's pretty simple. But what if we're talking about a consultation project that spans 6 months? Well, do we just score ourselves once on it? No. What we do is we've got that consultation broken into phases. So we're going to score each phase of that consultation project to see, did we hit it on the time? Are they happy? So on, so forth. Now, your numbers here will vary, but what you want to do is you want to have a certain minimum percentage. So let's say we want 98% are a 1 or 2 at the end of the year. Okay. Then what you might say is any 4s or 5s result in a car. And you might then go any further, say any 5s brought to top management. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. We can document this in our process procedures. We can document this in our policy or manual, wherever we find best to document it. But now, on-time delivery is suddenly very easily trackable. And that monthly job close meeting, we're only talking about 20, 30 minutes once a month, and you get to collect really great data that's going to go a long ways to showing your commitment to quality, your commitment to your customer, to satisfaction, all these different things. And one of the reasons I love tracking on-time delivery so much is, well, the delivery date itself is not the primary motivator for customer satisfaction. It's a big one, but it's not far and above and beyond everything else. It doesn't, but what it does show is it's a fantastic litmus test. And that's what our quality objectives should be. They really should be a litmus test for how well our management system is functioning as a whole. So if we're consistently getting 3s and 4s, or even consistently getting 2s, maybe you want to have a certain mix between the 1s and 2s, then we really have to assess, are we estimating these things properly up front? Now, if we're not estimating them properly up front, well, why not? Well, maybe there's a disconnect between engineering and operations, or between sales and engineering, or wherever it may be. But it gives us a lot of really good tools to dig in, dive deeper, and find out what's going on and what's wrong and why we keep having these issues. If, on the other hand, our on-time delivery is consistently good, but maybe sales are down or other customer satisfaction issues are down, well, then that gives us another avenue to go into. But this is really, truly one of my favorite topics to dive into, one of the favorite quality management objectives. So if this is something that you think is good or valuable for you or your team, I mean, definitely really, really love this option and this way of going about it. And like I say, we do have one client where we added a 6th category there, and that has to do with some other type situations, but you can customize this pretty easily. But like I say, is this makes it measurable really, really quickly, and we can know very quickly what our issues are. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope you can implement this in your organization and help use this to maintain a good, effective quality management system. So with that, you guys have a great day.